Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
For centuries, the story of Santa Claus has enchanted children and adults alike, ushering in the holiday spirit with tales of gift-giving, festive cheer, and a jolly old man in a red suit. Yet, behind the red-suited, bearded figure who slides down chimneys and leaves presents under Christmas trees lies a much darker and more complex history full of eerie legends and spine-chilling tales. Santa Claus, as we know him today, is the result of centuries of myth-making and cultural evolution, but in the shadows of his festive, benevolent persona lurks a more unsettling figure, Krampus, the sinister counterpart to Santa Claus who punishes the naughty rather than rewarding the good. The origins of Santa Claus, with all his goodwill and merriment, are not as innocent as they seem. Beneath the snow-covered, picturesque images of Christmas lies a far more terrifying narrative, one that stretches from ancient European folklore to the chilling fables shared in small towns over the centuries. As we embark on this exploration, we will uncover how the once feared figures that stalked the holiday season have transformed into the lovable Santa Claus we know today, while the figure of Krampus and other dark entities continue to haunt the edges of Christmas mythology. Santa Claus, or Saint Nicholas, a kind-hearted bishop who had come to embody the spirit of generosity, was not always the joyful gift-bringer we imagine. His early forms were tied to figures much more ominous than the kindly figure we've come to cherish. His role in folklore and religious history, particularly in Northern and Eastern Europe, reveals a figure who wasn't just known for rewarding the good, but also for unleashing terrifying retribution on those who strayed from the righteous path. At the heart of these darker traditions is Krampus, the horned, beastly companion to Saint Nicholas, a creature who would visit children during the holiday season to punish the naughty. With his cloven hooves, long tongue, and chains, Krampus is far from the merry figure associated with Christmas cheer. Instead, he's a harbinger of dread and punishment, a reminder that evil deeds could come with chilling consequences. While Santa Claus rewards the good, Krampus punishes the bad, dragging misbehaving children to his lair, a fate so grim it has terrified generations. The story of Santa Claus, from his Christian origins to his morphing identity through various cultures and legends, serves as a window into how fear and joy can coexist, blending the macabre with the merry. The duality of these figures reflects much about the human psyche, the need for joy, but also the recognition that there must be consequences for misdeeds. In this article, we will delve deep into the eerie origins of Santa Claus, from his earliest known representations to the mysterious, sometimes frightening figures who were his ancestors. We will also explore Krampus and other companions of Saint Nicholas, who have been forgotten by mainstream Christmas narratives, but remain an important part of the folklore surrounding the holiday season. The dark side of Santa Claus is not merely about the spooky tales associated with Christmas, but about understanding how ancient traditions, fears, and societal values have shaped the way we celebrate one of the most beloved holidays of all time. The roots of Santa Claus can be traced back to Saint Nicholas, a Christian bishop born in the 4th century in what is now Turkey. Known for his generosity and kindness, especially toward children, Saint Nicholas became a beloved figure throughout Christendom. His historical persona is the basis for the modern-day Santa, but there is far more to the Saint Nicholas legend than meets the eye. Saint Nicholas's association with gift-giving and miracles is widely celebrated, but his transformation into the jovial Santa Claus we recognize today is a result of centuries of evolving folklore. Nicholas's figure was eventually merged with other mythological and pre-Christian figures, including Norse gods like Odin, whose characteristics would come to define the Santa Claus we recognize, a white-bearded, winter-associated figure. The connection between Saint Nicholas and the dark side of Christmas begins with the dual nature of his reputation. While Nicholas was indeed known for his good deeds, his position in the religious hierarchy of the time also tied him to moral judgment and punishment. In early Christian traditions, the line between reward and retribution was much thinner than it is today, and Nicholas's role in the afterlife was often seen as one who would carry out the divine judgment, a theme that would evolve over time into the darker myths surrounding Krampus and other punitive figures. While St. Nicholas was the positive, reward-giving figure of the Christmas season, his counterpart, the terrifying figures who would punish misbehaving children, dates back long before Krampus. In ancient European traditions, the winter solstice was a time associated with spirits, gods, and mythical creatures who roamed the earth, dispensing rewards and punishments as they saw fit. This tradition had its roots in pre-Christian European winter festivals, where spirits of darkness were believed to walk the earth during the long, cold nights of winter. The earliest known dark figure in these traditions was the Germanic god Odin, who, in his role as the god of war and death, was said to lead a group of ghostly hunters across the sky during the Yule season. Odin's appearance was often associated with the terrifying wild hunts, where he would take children and adults alike as his followers or punishment. His connection to the winter season, and to both gift-giving and fear, would later influence the formation of Santa Claus as well as the figure of Krampus. As Christianity began to spread across Europe, these ancient deities and spirits began to take on new roles in Christianized folklore. Rather than vanishing, these creatures were absorbed into the Christian narrative and became part of the mythological fabric of Christmas. The spirit of the wild hunts evolved into the figure of Krampus, the demon-like creature with horns, a long, serpentine tongue, and chains, who was said to punish children who misbehaved during the Christmas season. Krampus, whose name likely derives from the German word Krampen, meaning claw, is often depicted as a monstrous half-goat, half-demon figure who accompanies St. Nicholas on his travels. While St. Nicholas would reward the good children with gifts and treats, Krampus would deal with the naughty by whipping them with birch branches or dragging them off to his lair in a sack or basket. These grim tales of Krampus became an important part of the Christmas traditions in countries such as Germany, Austria, and Hungary, where Krampus Night is still celebrated today. The figure of Krampus stands in stark contrast to the kindly, red-suited Santa Claus we know today. While Santa rewards children with toys and sweets, Krampus punishes those who have been naughty. He is not just a mythical creature, but a figure deeply rooted in the traditions of pre-Christian Europe. Krampus's role in the holiday season was not one of joy or merriment, but one of fear and consequence. In the folklore surrounding Krampus, he's often portrayed as a demonic creature, sometimes described as half-man, half-goat, with horns, a long, lolling tongue, and sharp claws. His terrifying appearance and association with punishment make him a stark reminder that there is a darker side to the Christmas season, one that involves the consequences of bad behavior. The stories surrounding Krampus vary by region, but the central theme remains the same. Krampus punishes children who have misbehaved throughout the year. Unlike Santa, who would leave gifts for the good children, Krampus would leave a trail of fear and dread, either whipping the naughty children with his birch branches or taking them away in his sack to his lair. In some versions of the myth, Krampus would take children to the underworld, where they would be forced to serve him for eternity. Krampus's terrifying image was used as a way to enforce moral behavior, especially during the winter season, when children were more likely to misbehave due to the long, cold nights and the lack of daylight. The fear of Krampus served as a deterrent to bad behavior, reinforcing the idea that those who misbehaved would face punishment, not just from their parents, but from the dark forces that roamed the earth during the winter season. In many European countries, Krampus Night is still celebrated on December 5th, the night before St. Nicholas Day. During this time, revelers dress up as Krampus and participate in parades and festivities, often frightening children with their terrifying costumes. The tradition of Krampusnacht serves as a reminder of the holiday's darker origins and the role that fear and punishment played in the original stories of St. Nicholas and his companions. In countries like Austria and Germany, the Krampus parades are a major event, drawing large crowds to witness the terrifying figures of Krampus, who often carry chains, bells, and switches, symbolizing their role in punishing the wicked. These events have become a blend of ancient folklore, modern celebration, and a bit of macabre fun, serving as a reminder that Christmas was not always the joyful, gift-giving holiday it is today. While Krampus has been largely relegated to the fringes of modern Christmas celebrations in many parts of the world, his legacy continues to haunt the holiday season. His presence reminds us that the origins of Christmas are not solely rooted in joy and giving, but also in fear, punishment, and the need for moral order. As time went on, the once feared figure of St. Nicholas and his companions like Krampus became more sanitized and commercialized, particularly with the advent of modern marketing and the influence of Coca-Cola's iconic Santa advertisements in the early 20th century. Santa Claus, once a figure of both reward and punishment, was transformed into the universally beloved jolly man who would bring presents to children, his ties to retribution and fear almost forgotten. This transformation, however, has not erased the darker shadows of Santa's origins. The story of Santa Claus and the eerie myth of Krampus reflects the complex nature of human history, where joy and fear are often intertwined. While we may now celebrate Christmas with laughter, gifts, and cheer, the darker figures that once haunted the holiday season still have their place in folklore, reminding us of the complex and sometimes unsettling roots of our festive traditions. The journey through the dark side of Santa Claus and the eerie origins of Christmas reveals a rich tapestry of history, myth, and cultural evolution. From the terrifying figure of Krampus to the evolution of St. Nicholas from a punitive figure to a benevolent gift-bringer, these stories remind us of the complex interplay between joy and fear in shaping our modern holiday traditions. As we continue to celebrate the season, it is important to remember the darker figures that once haunted the Christmas season, for they remind us that even in the midst of joy, there are always shadows lurking just beyond the light.